And welcome to the Clouse Q Show here on ONTV as a part of the PFC Entertainment Network. Along with Quadell Edwards, I'm Jason Clouse. We certainly appreciate you tuning in, taking time out of your weekend and giving the show a watch. We have a lot to unpack here this week, and we're very much looking forward to it. But before we get into this, Q, it's great to see you. I mean, we see each other, full disclosure, we see each other quite a bit.
All the time.
But here in this setting, man, it's been a minute since we've been on the air here on ONTV.
Yes, it has been a minute. You start to miss this a little bit when it's when you got that gap in between like this. But it's good to see you, man.
It is, yeah, in this environment.
Yeah,
right? Because
absolutely.
Here we can be more of ourselves. We're not burdened with the trials, the tribulations, the challenges, all the things that's going on in our real life jobs. And if you keep up with what's going on with us, we don't have to explain too much more. And actually, we'll probably touch on it later on in the program if we're going to be 100% honest with you. But before we get there, we have a pretty cool topic here this week that is kind of like a two-part crossover topic, an unprecedented one in terms of our network here. We're going to start here tonight on ONTV and get Q's perspective on it, and then later on down the line, we're going to get another perspective over on the Clouse to the Heart podcast. So stay tuned to all of our social media accounts for upcoming information on part 2 of this. But tonight, Q, we're going to talk about something that could generate a lot of discussion. It could start arguments. It could start a lot of different emotions. But here's the thing, man. If you don't talk about it, how do you address it?
Right.
Otherwise it becomes the elephant in the room. And a lot of us go through a lot of challenges, a lot of obstacles. A lot of times it's more mental than actual, physical, but make no mistake about it. It is a big deal, and it has to be dissected. We have to figure out why we're feeling the way that we are, or what are we doing right now that is not, in our best interest, for the lack of a better term. What can we do? How can we shift our focus in order to continue to move forward in this journey we call life? Because we're talking about the things that you can and cannot control. And when you put a topic like that out there, Q, it's a pretty loaded one, and people will think, well, how are you going to put that kind of topic into an hour-long show when you could really essentially have a whole show based on that? But we're going to do the best we can this week.
Absolutely. I mean, we can sit here and talk about this all day. I know I can, and I know you can. And I know a lot of you guys, once we kind of like start going through and dissecting this thing, you guys, it's gonna trigger some things, and you're gonna be like, you know what, I never thought of it this way or that way, So this topic is really gonna hit home, I believe, for everyone that's listening in. So, hey, take notes if you got to, because this is a topic that's really gonna help your daily lifestyle.
That's just it. I mean, and if you're not into the whole note-taking thing, well, the good thing is this will be available in the archives on youtube.com/Orion ONTV. Little plug there.
There you go.
See what I did there? All right. We have this broken down into 2 separate lists. Things that we can control, things that we cannot. Let's start off with the things that we can control and how we can incorporate this into our everyday. Because I feel like if we're reminded, Q, of things that we do truly have in our control, maybe, perhaps, and I feel like as I looked at this list, and I've been sitting on this list for quite some time, it was just a matter of when I was going to break it out. So I've had time to think about this. Like, I've gone back to this several times. How can I improve my situation? How can I improve my life? How can I improve the way I embark on my journey? And especially whenever there's an obstacle or a challenge that pops up, because life does that, right?
All the time.
But we're going to tackle the things here. We're going to break these down and get your perspective on it, and we'll see, compare and contrast, I guess, for the lack of a better term.
Sounds good.
The first thing that we can control is our words. Now, anybody that has listened to me for any length of time, you have heard me say ad nauseum, our words are among the greatest weapons that we have at our disposal. We will make or break another individual. We will make or break our day based on what we say, how we say it. Yep. Now, a lot of us, Q, we get wrapped up in the heat of the moment, as it were.
Yeah.
And if you don't give yourself that time to really think about what you want to say, you're just firing off at the first thing that comes to mind, and that's not always leading to the best results. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. You ever heard that the phrase "sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me"? That's not entirely true, because words can kill. I mean, sometimes we speak stuff on people and it causes them to go down a path, a real dark path of depression, and all this other kind of stuff goes on. So words are very powerful. You can either speak life or speak death. You can, help people out with your words, or you can just shoot them down. I mean, that's, and I always think about the term being flippant with the mouth. You got people that are just flippant with the mouth. I mean, it just flows out like water. I mean, all kind of stuff just comes out and they don't even know what they said when they get done saying it to other people. So words are very, very powerful. But this is something, if you really think before you speak, this is really something that you can take control of, because I believe that this is a problem with a lot of people, because they feel like they can't control what they say because they're allowing their emotions to be in the driver's seat. So they're not thinking when you are highly emotional, so that's something that we all have to deal with, is our words.
As I look at this list for the things that you can control or that you have control of, how I feel like a lot of these things and how we incorporate them into our lives is based a lot of how we were brought up.
Yeah.
What we've been exposed to. Because for me, you and I, we have the ability, it seems, to, in the heat of the moment, we can take a timeout, a mental timeout, and actually process what's happening before you just open your mouth. Because, you and I both, we are calculated with our words because we want our words to mean something. Now, on the flip side of that, you have people that are, for the lack of better terms, hotheads, right? They just, as soon as it comes in, it is a defense mechanism. A lot of times something has triggered them, so now they are in defense mode. When we are in defense mode, we say and do things that we probably wouldn't do when things are a little bit calmer. Also, with the words thing, how much do you believe in the aspect of, if you put good out, if you speak good, good will return to you. But if you are negative and everything is doom and gloom and everything sucks and this is wrong and that's happening and blah blah blah, you're getting all that negativity back. It's like a cycle, right?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I say, just show me your circle, and I'll show you who you are, pretty much. Because what you speak is pretty much what you believe. I mean, that's how you pretty much are, and there's something in there that needs to change. A lot of people have a hard time changing their words because they are having a hard time changing themselves. So if you are who you are, that's what you're going to speak, and all of that's going to come right back to you, and you're going to find yourself surrounded by what you speak.
Another thing that we have in our control is the aspect of our thoughts, right? Our thoughts, we are solely responsible for what goes on up here when we're talking about our thoughts. And
it's dangerous.
What's that?
It's dangerous.
It is.
It's dangerous.
It can go one of two ways. And again, a lot of this is based on what we've been exposed to, what we've had to overcome. Could be something that happened in your childhood. It could have been something that happened last week, but it's something that it has obviously made some sort of indelible impression on you to where it has, I don't want to say manipulated because that's an awful strong word, but in the most extreme cases, I guess that can be taken into consideration. We don't have to allow, and as difficult as it is, and I realize a lot of what we say, this is something I hear all the time. Well, it's easier said than done. Well, right, but you got to put some damn effort into it. It's not just going to happen just because you want it to happen. So
right.
The most crucial and significant signs of success is the result of your hard work, your dedication, and your action. It happens it does not happen without that. It's a fundamental fact. You have to get on board with that. Life is not going to hand you on a silver platter everything that you want. It does not work like that. In the same regard, you don't have to let all of that negativity that our world is consumed with and fascinated with for whatever reason, because controversy creates cash. You got to have the clicks.
Got to have it.
We don't have to allow that to affect our thought process, because everything, Q, we have said it time and time again, it starts with a mindset. Right?
Yeah, yes. This one is dangerous, and I circled that one on my notes, not on my phone, but I circled that one on my notes. I mentally circled that one because the thought process is very, very powerful, because everything that you got in your mind is what you are going to develop pretty much in life, and whatever you're allowing to influence you, you are going to put it out there. Like, it's connected to the words. I mean, a lot of this stuff is connected. Like I always say, you're pretty much shaped by your thoughts. You're shaped. Your life is going to be shaped by your thoughts. And if you are thinking in a negative way, you are going to develop a negative life. And you don't have nobody else to thank but yourself for allowing yourself to go through that. We go through different influences. Even, I had a pretty decent childhood growing up. And I can easily take those positive thoughts in my childhood and apply it to the life I have now. But then what happens when your house burned down? And you have to think like, man, am I a failure now that I'm living in a hotel? Can I make it? All these thoughts will start coming in your head, because now life is going on. Life is happening. And all of this stuff is happening. I broke my hand and I got to deal with that. There's a lot of stuff that will cause you to think negative, but you have to allow the positive to overtake it. That's up here. That's going to happen up here. It's a battlefield up there. I mean, you have thoughts fighting like it's the movie 300. It's a battle, and it's up to you, the one that's in control of this mind, to pick out who's going to be the winner. Those positive thoughts, or you're just gonna let negativity just keep on. But you're also gonna have people speaking in your ear.
Yeah.
Oh man, you have so many people that's influenced by negative talk. You have to say, you know what? An alert is coming on my mind right now. I gotta shut these thoughts off. I gotta shut these people off. And all of this negative stuff. You find negative stuff on TV. You can turn on the news and get mad.
Yeah.
And there's so much stuff going on that can really trigger that negative thought process that we have to take control of.
Every aspect of this list of the in control part really does start with our thoughts, with our mind, with our mindset.
Yep.
This next one is absolutely no exception, and that's our response. We can control how we respond to any situation. If you are of sane mind, and you have control of your emotions, then you have control over how you respond to things. Now, there will be those who will argue with me on this, because they will tell you self-admittedly, listen, when something bad happens, when things go completely south, I see red. I'm not the same person. Well, I would suggest that you need to start doing some deep dives into what your wiring looks like.
Yeah.
Because if you go back and you look over the course of your lifetime over, the most significant arguments or breakups or anything that resulted in a less than awesome result, how much of your response played a role in that, if we're being honest? Now, this is where you're going to have a come to Jesus moment and actually look at yourself in the mirror and have a honest conversation with the person looking back at you. Because you've heard me say on here, on all of our platforms, you are the only person you will never BS.
Yep.
We're on TV. You're the only person you'll never BS, right? So
yep.
you gotta be honest with yourself. So if we're being honest with ourselves and we're doing these deep dives, how much of your response played a role in something like that? If it's less than ideal, then you know what you have to work on. And listen, if you are of the mindset that admitting that you're doing something is wrong makes you weak, that is inaccurate. Let us go on record and let me put your mind at ease. It is okay to admit where you have messed up. It is okay to admit that you are not perfect. You are a human being. Yeah. You are not a robot. So it's okay to mess up. We're all going to mess up. It's in our human nature. It's what we do. However, how you respond to when you mess up will be the actual tell of what makes you who you are. Part of your integrity, right? Your character.
Yep. That's take a deep breath on this one.
I love these topics that make you you go into a different zone. It's like, all right, here we go.
Yeah. Well, for one thing, if you feel like you are a different person when it comes to having to respond to anything, the first thing I'm gonna say, go get a Snicker bar. If you're not who you,
you're not you when you're hungry.
Maybe you're hungry. Go get a Snicker bar. Calm down. Come back to earth. Come back to reality. And you have to learn how to respond in an adult type of way. We have so many people in society, either they're trying to respond to what they did or respond to what somebody else did in a crazy way. We got too many of that. We got too much of that happening already. I mean, the art of retaliation, I guess. We have everyone who wants to one up the next person for what they did to them, or what you did to yourself, or your response. If you can control your emotions, that is powerful. The person that can control their emotions is a powerful person. That's not a sign of weakness. That is not a sign of weakness. That's a strength. And you have to view it as a strength, because if you keep responding in these negative ways, the only thing you're doing is just playing catch with negativity. You're playing catch.
Like volleyball.
Like volleyball.
Yeah.
I don't want to play volleyball with negativity. Eat a Snicker bar. Change your ways. Come on.
That is an unofficial endorsement here.
Come on, Snickers.
Here on the Clouse Q Show. All right, this next one here. This is a big one with me. This one resonated with me. If I had to circle one, this would probably be it. One of the things that we do have in our control is our self-awareness. Now, again, we can, like a lot of this, we can allow other entities, other people to influence how we feel about ourselves. A lot of times it goes back to the words, okay? That's going to affect the thoughts. You see how all this ties into one another?
Connected.
It is. It's what a tangled web we weave, right? Because our self-awareness, and this is something that I struggled with for a good part of, well, especially when I was growing up in junior high, high school. I've talked about it ad nauseum. I had a speech impediment. I was a professional wrestling fan before it was cool to be a professional wrestling fan. Like I had all these things. I didn't have all the designer tags and all this stuff on my clothes and blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
So it put me in a less than stellar group or what have you. So I was very conscious of how I felt about myself, because I felt like everything that I was trying to do was never going to be good enough.
Yep.
I was never
Yep.
going to be cool. I was never going to be elected, class president or any of this other garbage. And in hindsight, it probably is a good thing, because it took that. And I look back on that time and I have allowed that to inspire me. And every time in here and now at 47 years old, if I come across a situation that I start to question my self-confidence, or I don't feel like I'm worthy or I'm good enough, I think back to that time when I was told or I was treated like I was a second-class individual, or I wasn't part of some cool clique. I don't need the damn cliques, okay? I form my own clique that has my people in it,
Yep.
the ones that I can depend on. And I'm not interested about what other people think in terms of how I conduct myself in that way. This is who I am. This is what I am. I am okay with that. I am good with who I am and who I continue to try to be. And I feel like as long as we are trying to improve ourselves each and every day better than we were yesterday,
Yep.
then you are really making the best. You're maximizing your minutes on trying to control your self-awareness. Would you agree that that's it?
Absolutely.
That's accurate?
Absolutely. Me, I was a little fat kid growing up. A little fat kid that wanted to wrestle. So I was wrestling in the backyard. It wasn't cool. It wasn't a cool thing. You have all these other kids playing football outside in the front yard, playing football, playing basketball, all this other stuff going on, singing songs or whatever. I'm in the backyard wrestling. My other so-called nerd friends, we're back there wrestling. We had little fake belts and everything, and we were looked upon as the outcast of the neighborhood, but I had to really realize that my value does not come from another's opinion, because people will always have an opinion about you. And look at that. Look how that goes right back to response. How are you going to respond to other people's opinion? Who cares? Who cares what people think? Just because an opinion, there's nothing right about an opinion. There's nothing wrong about an opinion. An opinion is an own category. It's just an opinion. That's what they think. So now you have to stop putting their thoughts in your head, creating those negative thoughts. Look at that. It's all connected right there. You have to realize that you are valuable for who you are. You are meant to be who you are. You're not meant to be somebody else. Like, we are different people that have the same interests. But we're different people, because it wouldn't be right if I was Jason Clouse, because I would be a counterfeit.
Well, you would look funny bald.
I would. But I was meant to be Q. And you were meant to be Jason Clouse. And we bring value to each other because of the value we have in ourselves. But you have to identify that you have value. That's one thing that we have to do. That's another thing. Look in that mirror again. And you got to start speaking to yourself sometimes. You're not crazy just because you talk to yourself. I talk to myself. I look in the mirror and I say, you know what? I am valuable. Sometimes you got to remind yourself that you are good at who you are and what you are blessed to do. The skills that you have, you are who you are. You can't change that. We have so many people that's dealing with the identity crisis right now. People don't know who they are. People want to be this person. You want to be that person. Once again, get a Snicker bar.
This is the big one, and I feel like if we put more effort and attention on this particular aspect, the world around us would probably be less negative, less confrontational.
Agreed.
I can control how I treat other people. You can control how you treat other people. Now, again, this is like the volleyball effect. It is, the way I go about the majority of my day, all depending on the people that I encounter, because that has to be taken into consideration.
Mm-hmm.
If you are dealing with somebody that is not very pleasant, then obviously you have to adopt one certain mindset to navigate your conversation or your course of business or whatever interaction that has to be. You could fire back and give them the absolute same kind of attitude or treatment that they're giving you. That is an option. But what if you led by example?
Right.
What if you use that opportunity to show them that even in the face of negativity or anger or any kind of other ill feeling that is on full display, you are able to rechannel that and shine some spotlight, some sunshine in a proverbial sense on that cloud that's hanging over that individual. Will it always be reciprocated or acknowledged? Absolutely not, because miserable people are sometimes just miserable people. That's just what they have allowed to dictate their life, and there's nothing that I'm going to say, he's going to say, you're going to say that's going to change that. That's the decision that they've made. However, if somebody is just having a bad day, we could fire back with what they give back to us. However, if we kind of get the sense that, well, maybe something is not going right, if you show that individual a little bit of kindness, that could be the thing that snaps them right out of whatever they're dealing with, and the rest of their day is a little bit brighter. You're responsible for that because you controlled how you treated that individual. That's just one aspect, because we encounter people all day, every day, if not in person, in a virtual setting, even through text message, even through emails, even through any kind of correspondence. There is a way to present yourself to where you're not confrontational, you're not negative, you're actually trying to maintain some sort of peace, some sort of positivity, right?
Absolutely. And I like that because just like you said, the volleyball effect, that's you throwing positive when a negative is coming towards you. You're hitting back, you're throwing the positive back. Now, I want to also address, I'm going to go through it. I'm going to tell a quick story here.
Story time with Q.
Story time with Q. It's coming across the screen. Story time with Q. I remember back in my not so mature days, I just read the vibe of somebody. Mm-hmm. This person didn't do anything to me. And I just made it in my mind that, you know what, I'm not gonna like this person. I'm not, I don't care nothing about this person. I don't like their vibe. So what did I do? I treated this person as if this person was not good enough. Therefore, that's the immature me throwing the first negative. That's the serve. Mm-hmm. That's what that was. That was the serve. I'm serving negativity. This is how a lot of people start that negativity towards other people. We start treating people bad because we just feel like they're gonna treat us bad. Their vibe is off. They look like they're gonna do something bad to me, so let me beat them to the punch. So we got a lot of that going on too. That we got the fire starters right there. So you over there rubbing your sticks together, trying to get that fire started, while really you need to be bringing that person in and say, let's start a positive fire together, and let's be friends. Let's be cool. Let's be kosher. We got too many people who wants to start off in a negative fashion. Usually that's what a lot of people, those miserable people, a lot of them are doing that because you don't got these other things right. You don't got your words right. You're still thinking about your thoughts might not be right. Your response might not be right. So you come across a stranger who don't even know you, and you just decide to treat them wrong. So this is all connected, and we have to get all of this stuff in control, because there's gonna be things that's out of our control. We're gonna talk about in a minute.
Yeah, we are actually going to tackle that part of the list. We're going to run a quick timeout, and then we'll be back with more of the Clouse Q Show live on ONTV right after this.
9, 8.
Are you or someone you know having thoughts of suicide or experiencing a mental health or substance abuse crisis? 988 connects you to compassionate, confidential support for free.
988.
988 is the new 3-digit dialing code for the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. For years, the Lifeline, formerly known as the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, has answered tens of millions of calls and helped people overcome mental health-related distress. 988 is the same trusted resource. When you call, text, or chat 988, you'll be quickly connected to trained crisis counselors who will listen to your concerns, provide support, and get you additional help if needed. There is hope. The Lifeline works. You are not alone in crisis. Just call, text, or chat 988.
988.
Knowing how to identify signs of crisis in others and help connect them to resources like the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is an important way to prevent suicide in Lake Orion. For information about free suicide prevention trainings offered in our community, please visit the North Oakland Community Coalition at noccmi.org.
988.
And we welcome you back to the Clouse Q Show live on ONTV. I'm Jason Clouse. He is Quadell Edwards. We appreciate you tuning in here tonight. We've spent the first part of the show here talking about the things that we do have in our control and what we can do to improve those opportunities as they present themselves. Because like we have just said here for over half an hour, a lot of it does start with a positive mindset. If we go into any situation with a positive mindset, then generally you're going to get the results that you desire more often than not. But of course, when you have one side of the coin, you got to flip it over, Q. And now the cool thing about this is we have already touched on a number of these as we were kind of breaking down what we do have in our control. So we're going to talk about the things that are out of our control here on this list. You know, the big one is our past. Our past is the one thing that we cannot control. We've broken it down. How many times in how many different scenarios? What's happened? It's happened. Nothing that we're going to do is going to change what has already happened. We don't have a DeLorean. We're not going back in time. We don't have that capability. Nope. And it's probably a pretty good thing, because there's no telling what kind of time continuum split we would have if the wrong people had access to the DeLorean. You saw what Biff did, and it just screwed everything up in Hill Valley. But in all seriousness, the past, we cannot change the past. What's done is done.
Oh, yeah, it's finished. To be honest, why do you even want to change the past? Because you understand you are who you are because of what you went through. Some of those things, it might be hard times. I mean, you got to go through hard times to appreciate the good times. Then you have some good times that people want to hold on to. You got to let that stuff go before you can get more good times in your future. I mean, why even hold on to the past? You have to let it go. I don't even have much to say about it. You have to let it go.
That's it. That's the bottom line. So many people, and a lot of it is trauma related.
Yes, it is.
Obviously, because it's something that has affected them. It has rattled them to their very core.
Yeah.
And I can understand, listen to me, I understand wholeheartedly how easy it would be to allow yourself to dip into or to be succumbed by the quicksand of something significantly bad that happened in your past. But here's the thing, like we've said, it's done.
It's done.
Look what happened, what triggered that, what contributed to that, so you know what not to do as you're moving forward. The other thing here is the result. You're not going to change the result. The result is what it's going to be. You could have put in your best effort. You could have put your best foot forward. But some days it's going to be good enough. Some days you're going to get that result that you wanted, that you thought would be, that you achieved. But there are going to be days that does not happen. There are going to be days that you are going to lose. There are going to be battles that you are going to lose. There are going to be ones that you win too. But at the end of the day, the universe has a weird way of making things happen, making things fall into place when it's damn well good and ready, and not a moment before. It's out of our control, the result.
Absolutely. And you know what? That's a good thing. I mean, if we were in control of the result, everybody would have everything they want and wouldn't appreciate it.
Right.
So, to me, the result of failure is a result that a lot of people don't want to see, but I think it's needed. Some of us will never learn what we know now if we haven't failed in some things that we tried to accomplish. There's some goals that I know I failed at a few times. Sometimes I failed multiple times on one thing, but I had to learn each and every time, and I want to bring it to the level of a child. I remember playing Super Mario Brothers. You get to that stage with Bowser, and Bowser knocks you off the cliff or hits you with one of those fireballs, and you fail. Now I know what to do to dodge that fireball, or what not to do for I don't fall off that cliff. You learn from these experiences. And I had to use a video game because a lot of people understand what these video games, that's what the world is now. Video games.
Yeah.
You fail and you learn from failure. Does not have to be failure unless you quit. That's when you fail, is when you quit. That's an automatic failure. Failure is just a lesson if you just pick up that remote control and go push start and go and try again. You have to try some things again. That result won't change, but you can build a better result.
The other thing here that is kind of out of our control is the future. But we can do what we can to kind of to position ourselves kind of where we want to go. Like you and I, we're very much goal oriented. Like we see something, we set our minds on something. Like this is what we're going to work on. Yeah. This is going to be our plan of attack. This is going to be what my focus is going to be. Do I know what's going to happen tomorrow? Absolutely not. Do I have an idea of what I want tomorrow to look like? Yes, I do. But, what you want and what actually happens don't always see eye to eye. They're not friends all the time. Right. I don't even think they're on each other's Facebook friends list, if we're being honest with you. They're not following each other.
No.
But at the same time, man, like you can plan for the future, but at the end of the day, the future is completely out of our control. We just have to be ready for what could be. Yeah. You can kind of prepare. If this scenario unfolds, I can kind of plan on this. This is how I would handle it. Because I'm very much like that. I feel like you are too, yes. to some degree. There's a fine line between preparation and overthinking. Mm-hmm. And we I'm not going to speak for you, but like for me, I know without a shadow of a doubt, my wife will tell you this, I walk on the razor's edge. Because, I don't know what's going to happen, but I know what I want it to happen, and I'm going to do everything I can to try to make sure I get the result that I want, but it is out of my control.
Yes, it is. It's out of your control. The future is out of your control, but you can influence yourself in the right direction. One of my mentors said it best. You expect the best, but plan for the worst. Mm-hmm. Because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. We don't even know what's going to happen when we walk out this studio. It's that complex, but what we want to happen is what we can help influence to happen. I mean, as long as the cards fall right, as long as that, the stars align or whatever you want to say, as long as everything goes right, we want to make sure we're going right with it. We want to make sure we are planning our lives to where we want to be and meeting each and every goal. You might not get there. But I want my goals to be set up in a way where it will help my kids, even if I don't make it. My kids can pick up. Or the next generation, we have to set up for the next generation. I call it the pass the baton effect, pretty much. That's what we're doing. We're running a race and we're passing the baton because we got people that's going to follow in our footsteps. It could be either any one of you, the viewers out there, saying, you know what, I like what they're saying on there. I would like to have a podcast one day, and they follow our footsteps. This is what we are laying out. We laid out a platform for our lives. We sought the goal and we ran towards the goal, and no matter what happens, we're going to keep running. Tomorrow's not promised, but you know what? I promise that I'm going to keep running towards that goal. You just don't quit. Don't quit.
That's a great way of putting that. Now these last two can kind of be intertwined with one another. What others think of me and other people's opinions. I can't control.
Here we go.
Yeah. Listen, at the start of the show, in our open, after the signature airs, you see the first three words on there are what? Inspirational, motivational, and controversial.
Yeah.
This is the motivational and inspirational side. This is the controversial side, okay? I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt that no, I do not have control over what people think of me, or what their opinions are based on anything. Like, I encounter how many people that think pro wrestling is the dumbest thing that's ever been invented, whereas it is ingrained in the very fiber of my being. Okay, nothing that I say is going to change their opinion of what they think of that particular entity. I may not care for a particular kind of car that Q may think is the greatest thing that's ever rolled off an assembly line. That my opinion is not going to change, and nor is his. I don't go out to try to change people's opinion of me like I used to. I used to allow people's opinions to dictate what I did, and where I was going and how I actually lived my life. And that could be on the most intimate of levels to the most public of circumstances. I used to care. I used to put a lot of stock into because I wanted to be universally liked. I wanted to be popular. I wanted people to be inspired, or whatever the case may be. But then I started to realize that I was getting further and further away from who and what I truly was and who I wanted to be. So obviously, when you come up to that kind of realization, you got to do some moving, shaking, and changing.
Yep.
And along those lines, this is where people's opinions really become on full display, especially in the day and age of social media. Nothing I'm going to do is going to change what they think or how I feel or anything like that. So why am I going to spend a stupid amount of time, effort, and energy trying to do that when at the end of the day, Q, it's out of my control. I have let that go. I am at peace with whatever happens outside of the things that are out of my control.
You said the word that really really resonates here. Peace. A lot of people will never have peace if they're thinking about what other people think about them or the opinion that they have. You will never have peace if you are just contingent on trying to please this person because they said you were dumb and you want to prove that you're not dumb. I mean, you will run yourself mad trying to please these people who have all of these different opinions on you because it's not going to stop. I mean, these opinions will go on and on. I guarantee you that people still think I'm a nerdy little wrestling kid. They still probably think that. I mean, there's people think a lot worse of me now. They think that I'm crazy, or they'll think that you're crazy just for following a goal. I mean, you're crazy. You think you can accomplish that? What? They will put all kind of different beliefs in your head if you allow them to, and you're going to have nothing but worry and chaos in your mind. And now you can't control your thoughts because of what the people are really implanting into your mind. You're allowing them to put that in there. You really need to shut it down by getting away from them. And that's what you got to do. Sometimes you got to separate yourself. It can be the closest people. Sometimes you got the closest people that don't believe in what you do or what you are trying to do. They're not going to believe that you can open up a business. There's so many people that don't believe that I can be successful at this fitness thing. And I had one person who, I hope this person's watching. I had one person who said, why would you pick a fitness business over working at the job you are working at now? Why would you might as well just stay there? Because that's good money. You know, you get the benefits. You get all this and that, discounts. Yay, that. But you got people really saying that. And this person really said that and actually told my wife that. And, without actually doing research, they just flip it at the mouth, so you don't have to spend your entire life trying to prove people wrong. I'm not doing this to prove that person wrong. I'm doing this because I believe that this was ingrained in me to do, and this is who I was meant to be. You gotta stop doubting yourself because of what people are saying. You have to really stop doing that. You know how many millions and billions of dollars are in the grave because people did not even go for their goals or try to accomplish the things that they were meant to accomplish because of what somebody said? People threw away the little papers that they wrote their notes on about their goals and everything. All the wastebasket is full of just wasted dreams, wasted potential. Potential, that's power that's untapped. You have all kind of untapped potential. But because of so-and-so, this person said this, you're like, you know what? I can't do it. You start speaking it. Those words, you're losing control of everything in this circle. You can't even see my notes, but it's what is in my control is written in a circle here. You are losing everything within that circle because of the one thing that's outside of the circle that you cannot control. You are losing control of everything because of what so-and-so said. Forget about so-and-so. Maybe they need the Snicker bar. You let them go. Let them go and let them be. Come on, separate yourself from these negative people, this negative circle that you want to take with you that don't even believe in you, but you want to take them with you. Let them go and live your life the way you are supposed to live it. And let these people go because they're going to continue to speak. They're going to continue to nag and continue to put you down. It's not going to stop. Let them go and get out of there. It's like a burning building. Get out of there while you still can. Get out of there while you still succeed. You can still succeed, but you got to get out of that burning building quick. I'm done. That was a lot. My voice started to go.
Yeah. It's been a minute since you've been this fired up about something.
You know what?
Like I felt like you were just gonna flap your ass right out of this chair, man. Like I was here for it. I was like,
man, I was about to say, Devon, get the table.
everything you said is 100% accurate. 100% accurate. And so much of this is going to resonate with what I'm going to touch on here for the last 10 minutes of the show. And let me say right out of the gate, these are my opinions. These are my words. These are my thoughts. They do not reflect those of Q, ONTV, PFC Network, and these are my thoughts, my opinions. This comes the controversial part, right? I'm using this time here as a way to kind of communicate with two contingents of people that are under one umbrella right now. That umbrella is the ongoing contract negotiations between the big three automakers in Detroit and the members of the UAW. Why does this resonate? Because both Quadell and I are union members. We are employees of one of the big three. And so we are very much we are dialed in with what's happening here. Now, what we're finding and what you're seeing on social media and even in televised media, you're getting second, third, fourth-hand information, and people are forming a false narrative on what's really happening or why things are happening the way that they are. And in the meantime, you are conducting yourselves in less than ideal scenarios and situations. This is on both sides. This is the way the public is starting to view the situation and the way that we are responding. Now, a lot of what we've talked about here tonight can be incorporated in this situation. And a lot of it does come down to personal responsibility that we have control over. The fact of the matter is it goes back to what we had just talked about. We are not going to change people's opinions. We are not going to change the way people think about us. The people meaning the general public who really, and at no fault of their own, are just uneducated as to what is truly happening. They, again, are getting second, third-hand information. They're getting skewed news reports that really, by and large, is just a very tip of the iceberg. It doesn't even start to tackle what's really happening. I know this because I've read this. I know this because I've seen this. I have watched people go on local news markets and put their narrative out there on both sides of the equation. And I'm not saying your opinion is wrong, much like my esteemed colleague here so eloquently put earlier. You're entitled to your opinion. It's not right, but it's not wrong either. But when you are presented with facts, fundamental black and white facts that are in contrast to what your opinion is, you have to take that into consideration. The fact of the matter is that thousands of people are on the picket line right now across our nation. And these are hardworking men and women. Yeah. Men and women who have families to provide for. Men and women who have children to care for. Men and women who use this job as a way to support themselves and to those who mean the most to them. Yes, there's a lot of numbers being thrown out in the media right now. Billions of this and millions of that and thousands of this. Mm-hmm. It's all about numbers, right? The bottom line is men and women such as Q and myself and thousands upon thousands of people across this nation work their asses off for the vehicles that you drive to make sure that they're built the absolute best that they can be with safety at the forefront. That's what we do. The plant that Q and I work at is one of the most profitable, if not the most profitable, of our particular company. Not ours, but the one that we work for. We don't take that very lightly. Now, what's happening is you're getting these tensions are escalating. Mm-hmm. We have UAW members that are being assaulted with vehicles They are having weapons drawn on them in California and Massachusetts.
No excuse for that.
In Swartz Creek, Michigan, a scab worker used a vehicle to bump people out of the way. Listen, you're in the middle of a strike. This is what happens. Now, on the flip side of that, I will say that there is room for improvement based on our representation to the public as members of the UAW. Yes, we are mad as hell. Yes, we want and deserve a bump in pay and a better contract than what we have. If you people were in our situation, if you had a job that was protected by a union, you would feel the same way. You do not, and it's on full display. You can think what you want about the union. You can think what you want about our situation, us as employees, but make absolute no mistake about it. The ones who are opposed to us having a better contract are the vocal minority, because the majority of the country, whether you are a union member or not, they support our cause.
Yep.
I am very proud to be a union member. I am proud to support my brothers and sisters who are on the picket lines, not just here in the state of Michigan, but across the nation. I am proud to be a member of Local 598. I am proud of the men and women that I work alongside of, guys like Q, guys like Brian Balf, who a friend of the show, the Stan Lee of the operation, if you will. I had to get that in there. But all jokes aside, absolutely, we are a part of history. This particular thing is historic,
Yep.
and we have to keep that in mind when we are on the picket line, when we are on a public presentation, a public forum. We have to present ourselves as respectful and professional as possible, because the general public that is misinformed will find anything and everything to pinpoint and pick apart and put a negative light on us as a union as a whole and individually as men and women. And I'm here to tell you, some of the hardest working and strongest men and women that I have ever known are members of the UAW.
Yep. And this is historic. This is change. We're seeking change. This is not only for us, but this is an economic thing here. This is bigger than just us getting more money. This is bigger than that.
Right. And with that, we will go ahead and put a bow on this episode. We certainly appreciate you tuning in here on the Clouse Q Show. We're going to be back here. It won't take as long next time, Q, just less than a handful of weeks. We'll be back here Friday, October the 20th. It's going to be a special Halloween edition here on the Clouse Q Show. We're looking forward to that. And with everything, for all the latest updates, follow us on Facebook. Just look for the PFC Entertainment Network or the Clouse Q Show. And of course, support our wonderful friends here at ONTV. And with that, go out, be awesome to yourselves and to each other, and we'll see you right back here next time on the Clouse Q Show, exclusively on ONTV.